FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studios here on the John Hammond Street. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Live as well on 3news.com. Streaming live as well on 3FM. On Facebook. Do well to follow and be a part of the bulletin. Coming up, there are two major parties wrap up campaigns today as Election Task Force says it would deploy helicopters to ensure peace and security just some 48 hours to the polls. Also, this afternoon, special voting underway in the eastern and western regions after the December 2 postponement. A lot later, we have details for you over a latest petition to the special prosecutor by the Media Foundation for West Africa alleging the creation of ghost names and possible corruption in or at the National Service Authority. Details of these stories and a lot more if you stay with us for the next 30 minutes. Welcome to the bulletin. I am Mawuena Egbeta. A reminder, this bulletin is streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 92.7. Do well to follow and be a part of the bulletin. Let's get straight into the details. And we're just some 48 hours to the December 7 general elections. Both the National Democratic Congress and the governing New Patriotic Party are wrapping up their campaign tours with mega rallies in Accra today. While the NDC will host their rally at the Zurich Park in Medina, the NPP is hosting their Possibilities Victory Rally at the University of Ghana Sports Directorate Park. We'll take you there right now this afternoon and connect with our colleagues who are monitoring the respective rallies for the two parties, the two leading parties in the lead up to the elections. Touch base first off with Komla Kruche, who's with the John Mahama campaign team, and then with Daniel Opoku, who's our Labour Affairs correspondent, and also with the Baumia campaign team. Let's start off with Komla Kruche right now, who's joining us with a bit more details. Komla, talk to us about the euphoria at the place. Well, I got the indication that that's Daniel who's joined us on the phone. Daniel, talk to us about what's happening exactly at the University of Ghana campus at this particular point in time. Hello, Daniel, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Mawuena.
Now, talk to me about what the atmosphere is like at the University of Ghana, even as people begin to troop in to the University of Ghana Sports Directorate.
And preparations are also underway, even though the national executives are yet to converge. The time that we have been given tentatively, that will be starting at 3 p.m. today. So gradually, the party members are coming from all walks of life, and others have also mounted a lot of canopies. I have counted about 40 canopies which have been mounted at the Legon Stadium currently. And then they are also cashing in, brandishing the party paraphernalia, the party t-shirts, and also selling them out. And others also, vendors are also around for people who would want to buy food for themselves and all that. Currently, the place is becoming gradually charging up, and others are still coming in.
And for the persons who've come in, what's been the mood like? The messages they are seeking to hear from the respective party executives who are expected any moment from now?
Right. So now when we speak to them, they are extremely happy. And they are very also confident that they are coming to the MPP is winning this year's elections, despite the calls and despite what the other party or the opposition party has been doing. For instance, what the NDC has been doing. For them, they said they are not perturbed about that. They are so stuck to the decision of the party that this year's elections, they are winning. You see some level of confidence. You can also read from their mood that they are extremely happy that this year's elections, they are going to win, and they are positive about breaking the eight, as has been touted from the very beginning of this year.
Breaking the eight, I'm sure, will be one of the running themes. Well, let's just try and step out of the University of Ghana campus just briefly. Talk to us about the traffic situation in and around the university, even as a lot more people are expected at the university.
Right, so now, if you can recall, the Ghana Police Service issued a statement where they have created alternative routes. So, for instance, if you are coming from the Flagstaff House area through to the 37 Military Hospital, and then from that place up to CRC, the traffic is flowing. I spotted some police officers on the street who are directing traffic. Then right from CRC through to the University of Ghana entrance, there's a turn on your right-hand side that will take you through main pass them, then to the Trinity Theological Seminary Street. There are also police officers in that area who are still directing traffic, and that is what they have been able to do. For now, once the program is started around 3, gradually you see the traffic building about. Reading from what the Ghana Police Service has been able to put across, then clearly it means that traffic is going to flow right from now to when the program will be over.
Right then, Daniel, thank you very much for those details. That's Daniel Opoku, who is providing details there for us. But we mentioned, or Daniel has been speaking to the police deployment in the area. Let's try and find out a bit more from my colleague Stanley Niblo, who is at this particular point in time in and around the University of Ghana campus, Legon, and also on the path headed towards Medina, because that's where the NDC's rally, the final rally as well, is expected to be held. Stanley, you've been seeking to gauge the sense of the traffic situation and how the police deployment has been all throughout the morning up until this point. What can you tell us?
So, Mawuena, I must say that I'm currently at the police headquarters, actually, where the police administration or the National Election Security Task Force has been engaging the media on the security arrangements for the two major, the rallies for the two major political parties. You know, yesterday they came up with some road diversions and security arrangements. But today, they also gave an update which detailed some layers or an additional layer to what they told the media yesterday, the security arrangements they put in place yesterday. And for today, what they said was that they are going to deploy 2 helicopters to the ground. So while the rallies are ongoing, these helicopters will be flying over the rally grounds to pick intel and also pick information about people who are probably trying to foment trouble at the various rally grounds. So this arrangement is something that I must say that it is an additional layer to what the police are planning to do today.
And outside of the choppers which are expected to be deployed, what is the on-ground deployment going to look like? Have they been able to share that as well?
Yes, so they are going to deploy more than 300 of their men to the 2 rally grounds. And then they're also going to have MTTD personnel on all the roads that have been designated for or assigned for the supporters of the various political parties that wanted to visit or be part of the rally. So these people are going to be on our roads and ensure that traffic flows. Anybody who probably may have the plan of fomenting trouble or causing mayhem or blocking any of these people trying to access the rally grounds, the police says they are going to deal with them drastically.
Right then, Stanley, many thanks for those details. That's Stanley Niblo, who is my colleague who is at the police headquarters. Let's listen to the Director of Public Affairs, ACP and Sakrofi, who's also been speaking to this and been providing a bit more details as to police deployment and curtailing whatever disturbances that possibly could arise from the dual rallies expected in the capital today.
The road diversion will go as follows. NPP supporters who will be coming from Adenta direction towards Legon, they would take left at the Reese Junction, move towards Aviation, and appear on the UPSA road or Oponglo area. That will let them access the University of Ghana Sports Park without having to go through Medina and the Zongo Junction areas. In the case of the NDC, their supporters coming from Tetekwashi, to avoid them going through Legon, will take right at Shiashi towards the UPSA and then take left to hit the main Medina-Accra road.
That's ACP Grace and Crofi. Let's hear a bit more as well in relation to the deployment of the helicopters.
Security Task Force Press Center for this morning's briefing. Yesterday, we had announced our security arrangements in place for the two rallies to be organized today by the NPP and the NDC as they bring their campaign activities to a close. We talked about our engagement with them. We highlighted the road diversions and the roadblocks and other security measures that have been put in place to ensure there is order, law, and security is provided to every person that will participate in the rallies, as well as other commuters, road users, and the general public. As an additional layer of security, this morning, 2 police helicopters will be flying over the rally grounds to provide surveillance and to help monitor activities on the ground to ensure the safety of the persons at the rally and to look out also for any suspicious activities that will require the intervention of the police and other security agencies as the case may be.
That's Grace, ACP Grace and Akrofi there speaking at that press conference. And the Peace Council, the National Peace Council, they've been urging supporters to remember the commitment party leaders have made in the interest of democracy and in the interest of a peaceful and stable country as the election campaign draws to a close. George Amo is the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council. Let's speak to him and get a bit more from him on expectations ahead of the elections tomorrow. Ms. Amo, I appreciate that you could speak to us. The parties we know are wrapping up their campaigns. We know that the Peace Council has been doing a lot of work behind the scenes in the lead up to the elections. What's the expectation now with all of the things that we've seen happen over the last few weeks, the signing of the Peace Pact and all? What is the expectation of the Peace Council going forward, some 48 hours to the general elections?
All right. Thank you very much. And I send greetings from the Peace Council to all those who are listening to us. Our expectation, we expect a peaceful election on Saturday. We expect that Ghanaians will conduct themselves in a manner that will resonate with the accolade that we have gained for ourselves over the years. We expect that the outcome, as will be declared by the Electoral Commission, will be acceptable to all parties, whether you win or you lose. That is what we expect. And we expect that parties would conduct themselves and bring their followers into tune. And
right.
Particularly when all of us have assented to a pact that gives us a roadmap as to what to do in the event that we feel dissatisfied with the outcomes.
Right. Just quickly, though, on the consensus come up over the last 12 hours, really, when the announcements were made with regards the destination point of the respective final rallies of the two leading parties. From where you sit, some have raised security concerns and the fact that the police could have done a better job in as much as possible being able to separate the two parks from being so close to each other. Where do you stand on the deployment or the choice of locations for start, and then the deployment of the police that we've seen in the last few hours?
All right. So our initial position was that it was not too healthy to have two big parties in our country, conducting their final campaigns in an interval of about 5 kilometers. We thought we could have done something about that. But we've had conversation with the police. We've received assurances that they will do all that is within their capacity to ensure nothing untoward happens. So we have a lot of confidence in the police. And we believe that they will be able to contain any excesses that may occur as a result of the closeness. But we also believe that the political parties themselves, they've committed to conducting themselves well ahead of this important engagements later today. And we also want to trust that our political parties will be able to abide by their own, positions.
Right.
Because they've had conversation with the police and they've committed to conducting themselves well.
Right then.
But it's also likely, my brother, that something can. We are humans, so we just want to urge everybody, including our security agents, that we should be alert, so that no criminal would infiltrate and do things that would tarnish the image of the political party themselves, our security agencies, and all of us as a people.
I appreciate that you could speak to us. That's George Amo. He's the Executive Secretary of the National Peace Council, speaking to us this afternoon. And a reminder that we are your election command center as we continue to breeze through headed towards December 7, the Christian Council of Ghana and the eminent persons of groups of religious leaders, they have added their voice on calling on the Electoral Commission to prioritize diligence and avoid what they say are little mistakes. Now, emphasizing that even minor mistakes could erode public trust. This call comes against the backdrop of historical skepticism and controversies surrounding the work of the Electoral Commission. Let's take a listen to exactly what they've been saying at a news conference. Then we connect to my colleague, Noble Crosby Annan.
In maintaining public confidence in our democratic process. Transparency from the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission must ensure transparency in all electoral processes as stated in the laws of Ghana. This includes the voting process, ballot counting, and collation at all levels to the very final declaration. Open communication with the public will foster trust and confidence in the electoral system. We encourage the Commission to engage with civil society organizations and observers to enhance oversight and address any concerns promptly. We entreat the Commission to be very diligent and avoid little mistakes.
That's the Christian Council of Ghana. Unfortunately, Noble Crosby Annan is not readily available, but we're continuing on matters relating to elections, where over the years, elections have been identified as major triggers of violence and instability in many countries in the sub-region. And Ghana's 2024 general elections are taking place against major political challenges in key West African states. Now, the head of the ECOWAS observers for the 2024 elections, they've called on the Electoral Commission and all stakeholders to ensure that the polls reflects the will of citizens to strengthen the country's democratic gains. The former Nigeria Vice President Dr. Namadi Sambo has also urged the observers to not interfere with the electoral process of the country, and will seek as well to get a bit more from there for you in terms of what they've been saying. But Christian Yali has joined us. Okay, we get the indication that Christian Yali is on the phone now. Christian, talk to us as to the role of the observers, what they are seeking to play, particularly from ECOWAS.
Exactly, Eric. And we know that over the years, election observation has become a crucial way of ensuring and enhancing the transparency of elections across many states and countries. And so when you look at the sort of insurgence of military takeovers and political instability that are testing to the breaking point in many West African countries, it has become very crucial for ECOWAS to keenly observe what Ghana is able to do and the kind of example that the country can set in this year's election. And so in that official event to deploy the observers across the country, the head of political affairs, for instance, highlighted the crucial role that religion has come to play, looking at the leading candidate for these two political parties, Dr. Bawumia and John Dramani Mahama, despite the fact that they are coming from the same part of the country. And he goes ahead to even make the point that with a lot of the youth saying no to many authorities, looking at the deteriorating conditions of the economy across many states, Ghana has a crucial role to play this time around in electing a leader who would, enhance the fortunes of the youth. And then the head of the mission, in the person of Namadi Sambo, for instance, talks about the fact that he is aware that there has been a lot of interventions that have been made from the leadership perspective, and also the citizenry who have been briefed very, very well on the process of the election. And he expects that going into the election, there will be transparency and fairness to ensure that Ghana solidifies its democratic gains. He has been speaking, and that is what he has to say.
It is reassuring to see that Ghanaians, from the citizens to the officials, are ready for the polls. I have followed the discussions also in the media, and I am confident that the citizens are sufficiently mobilized and informed about the election process. I wish to commend all the stakeholders in Ghana for the maturity and nationalism demonstrated in the process so far. I urge them to keep it up. Excellencies, distinguished members of the election observation team, as we prepare to receive a detailed briefing from our technical team, let me remind you that our role as observers is only to look, record, and report what we see during the process. While at your respective deployment areas, you will be guided as to what to look out for. It is not your role to interfere with the process. During the process, you will be in constant touch with the Situation Room to receive further guidance whenever the need arises. The philosophy of ECOWAS observation is not to criticize or find faults with elections. It is to help strengthen our electoral processes and broadly our democracy by applauding what works well and identifying areas of improvement, which collectively will work to improve.
That's Namadi Sambo. Christian is still with us briefly. Chris, we know that the head of the political affairs of the mission as well has been speaking. You sought to provide us a bit of details as to what he said. Just provide us a bit more before we let go of you.
Exactly, Eric. And just like I alluded to earlier, you know that across West Africa and even Africa as a region in a whole, we have noticed that over the years, elections have become major triggers of violence and instability, which really goes a long way to erode public trust in democracy. And so he makes that same point and makes it strongly and emphasizes the point that going ahead into this election, and especially on the part of the observers, they should not be necessarily looking for faults or mistakes in the electoral process.
Right.
But should ensure that whatever situation they find themselves to, they will just enhance it and help local officers of the Electoral Commission to conduct their business.
Christian, thank you. That's Christian Yale, is my colleague here at 3FM and TV3. We're taking you to the Eastern region right now because there's a special voting exercise currently underway there and the Western region following the postponement of the exercise due to challenges with presidential ballot papers for the two regions. Let's take you to the Eastern region right now where my colleague Yvonne Nikwe is monitoring the process. Yvonne, talk to us about how it's been so far. Which areas have you been able to visit? What's the process been like? Hello, Yvonne. Well, it does appear Yvonne Nikwe is not on the telephone lines with us, but just by way of mention, there's actually a special voting exercise currently underway in both the Eastern and then the Western regions as well. It follows what was a postponement of the exercise originally scheduled for December 2 to December 5 today because there was a defaced ballot paper from the Checkpoint Printing House, the agency which was responsible for printing presidential ballot papers for the Eastern and Western regions. Let's try one more time with Yvonne. Yvonne, talk to us as to what the exercise and how it's been like in the Eastern region.
Okay, so I have been monitoring the New Durban North and New Durban South constituencies, which is in the heart of the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua. At the New Durban South constituency, past midday, we've done about 500 out of the 1,000 which are expected to vote at this particular constituency. Back in New Durban North, over 100 have already voted. It's been a smooth exercise so far. Military men, media practitioners, some EC staff joining the queue to do their voting. We're hoping that the day will go this way until we end at 5 p.m.
Right then, Yvonne, thank you. We'll be on hand to come back to you as and when there's a bit more. I will try and connect to the Western region as well and get details for you in relation to how the exercise is panning out in that part of the country as well. But a reminder that we are your election command center. You're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7, also streaming live on 3FM 927. That's a handle on Facebook to which you can find us and be a part of the bulletin. Leave a message for us. Trust I will do the reading for you here on 3FM 92.7. But there's big development on the quarters of the National Service Authority at this particular hour, because the Media Foundation for West Africa, they've petitioned the Office of the Special Prosecutor over ghost names, but we'll hold up on that and then take you to the Western region right now and speak to Francois, as a colleague there, get just brief details as to how the exercise is playing out in the Western region. Francois, kindly talk to us as to how the special voting exercise has been in the Western region so far.
Hi, Mawuena. Good afternoon. So far, the crowd has reduced over here, but speaking to the presiding officer here, so far 280, close to 280 people have voted, but we are expecting a total number of voters 665. But so far we've had 280 people voting in. But as of now, the crowd has reduced, but people are walking in. 1 or 2 people are coming in to vote. Later in the day, we had the Member of Parliament for the Takoradi constituency, Honorable Kobna Ochedaku Mensah, coming in to cast his vote, as well as the Western Region Electoral Commissioner also came in to cast her vote.
Right then, Francois, thank you for those details. And like I said, we'll come back to you as well during the course of the day to get a bit more. But let's take you to that story involving the Media Foundation for West Africa and their petition to the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, they've petitioned the OSP over ghost names in the National Service Authority's database, demanding a forensic audit over alleged corruption and grand collusion to fleece the state. Now, fake student ID numbers, ID cards, identity theft. That's the volume of evidence a special prosecutor has been presented with by the Media Foundation for West Africa following investigation into the activities of the National Service Authority. Now, the group is, among many things, demanding the Office of the Special Prosecutor to conduct forensic audits into the activities of the National Service Authority following media work which revealed the creation of ghost names, possible identity theft, and corruption running possibly into millions of Ghana cedis. A bit more in terms of the petition as we have cited, and amongst many other things, the issues the Media Foundation for West Africa is raising in this petition is a creation and use of thousands of fake student index numbers assigned to supposed graduates from various tertiary institutions. There are disparity between figures announced to the public by the National Service Authority and figures presented to Parliament, and by this the figures announced publicly as with regards persons who are undertaking national service for respective years since the year 2018-2019, what is presented to Parliament differs quite strangely. An average of over about 40,000 individuals are included, and that's a part of the petition they've presented to the special prosecutor. There's also the enrollment and posting of overage persons, the use of ineligible and fake ID cards for enrollment, the use of ineligible ID card for multiple enrollment of different persons with different biometric data, issues of identity theft, and then ongoing efforts. According to the Media Foundation for West Africa, they say that they've uncovered ongoing efforts by persons at the National Service Authority to delete personnel data since their investigations began. Now, they are demanding first off that the OSP conducts forensic system of IT system of the NCA to track patterns of deletion, amendment, and other alterations of the NSA's database. Also, they want the OSP to conduct audits of payment of service personnel through the GIPS system from the 2018-2019 financial year to the 2023-2024 financial year. Just by way of a bit more news for you, just before we run out of the studio this hour, and the state is set to file new charges against the General Overseer of Alive Chapel International, Prophet Elisha Salifu Amwako, his wife Moha, and a domestic worker of the family, Linda Bempa, and that's according to lawyers from the office of the Attorney General. Unfortunately, we cannot connect to Lord Eduasare to bring a bit more for you on this, but there will be a bit more for you if you stay with us here at 5 p.m. on Hot Edition. I am Mawuena Egbeta. Up next is Business Daily with Michael Ogbodu.
92.7 Urban Lifestyle Radio Station.
And hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Ogbodu. Coming up, petroleum prices hike at pumps sparks concerns ahead of December 7 elections. We'll bring you details on that. Meanwhile, transport operators announce a 15% increase in transport fares. We'll be talking to the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union. Also, Ghana records 3.9 billion cedis trade surplus in third quarter of 2024, with gold bullion leading with 62.1% of total exports. Details coming up shortly. Please stay with us. Well, thank you so much for your time. Straight into our top story. With just 2 days to the December 7 general elections, petroleum prices at the pumps have increased despite earlier projections of a reduction. Total Energies and Shell are among oil marketing companies that have revised prices upwards, drawing criticisms from stakeholders and consumers alike. This report has the details.
Fuel prices are rising just 2 days before Ghanaians head to the polls for the December 7 general elections. Total Energies now sells a litre of petrol at 15 cedis 30 pesos and diesel at 15 cedis 80 pesos. Shell, which adjusted its prices earlier this week, now sells petrol at 14 cedis 99 pesos per litre, a 15 peso increase, with diesel slightly up at 15 cedis 72 pesos. This development has caused concern among stakeholders and consumers, particularly since industry projections had anticipated a marginal price drop from December 1. Observers note that the cedi has shown stability and global crude oil prices have been falling, making the hikes unexpected. With the elections looming, rising fuel prices could influence voter sentiment as concerns grow about the impact on transportation costs and household budgets. Stakeholders are calling for clarity on the reasons behind these price adjustments.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Meanwhile, Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Nsia, has called for efforts towards ensuring stability in macroeconomic indicators like the cedi depreciation to control rising fuel prices.
If you want to manage export prices well in the shortest and medium and long term, we think that we need to have stability in our macroeconomic management, especially with respect to the forex management. The cedi must be stable. If the cedi becomes stable, prices of petroleum products locally will also be stable, because fortunately for us, on the international market, prices are likely going to be stable for a longer time, because we're in a period where countries are transitioning. We're in a period where we have supply glut of petroleum products. We're in a period where countries, especially China, which is a major consumer of petroleum products, is observing some reduced growth. What locally we must do to ensure that petroleum users benefit from this international price plummeting or flooring is to ensure that the cedi becomes very stable or begins to appreciate against the dollar.
So that was Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, Benjamin Insia. In a related development, the Transport Operators Association of Ghana has announced a 15% increase in transport fares, citing the continuous rise in fuel prices as the primary reason for the adjustments. The new fares take effect today, December 5, 2020. Let's now go to the phone lines to speak to Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union, GPRT, Abbas Imero. Thank you so much for your time, Alhaji. First off, are you aware of this transport fares, and is it something that you are part of?
Thank you for calling. Yeah, we are currently suffering from the current fuel prices. But before I move further, I wonder if those in charge of fuel prices are aware of the problem they are going to cause. Because currently, we've taken some people out of Accra and from other places to Accra. And if we are immediately going to announce the changes in lorry fares, you can imagine what is going to happen to all of us. Yes, of course, definitely there will be a change in lorry fares. Our leadership are yet to put their resources together and come up with any further adjustment. But by then, we have a system of which we go about any upward adjustment in lorry fares, of which definitely our leadership would come up with that.
All right, so Alhaji, if I understand what you're saying, you are not part of this 15% increase. However, there are plans to announce an increment soon.
Yes, because we have a process of coming out with any upward adjustment in lorry fares, and we must respect the system.
Fair point. So if we are to expect an increment in transport fares, by how much should we expect it, and how soon from the GPRTU?
I speak to decisions taken. So when a decision finally, we take final decision, I'll come out and say it. We say, but I'm trying to explain the scenario that, yes, of course, there will be an increment, but not as it is today.
Okay, so an increment is less than 15%.
Yes, we have a system of going about it, and we have to use that system so that nobody will feel cheated.
Okay, fair point, Alhaji. Thank you so much for clarifying that fact. And finally, are we to expect this increment by the end of the year?
Anytime decision is taken, I'll come out and announce it.
A very politically correct answer there. Thank you so much, Alhaji Abbas Idrosu Imoro. He is. Yeah, thank you. He is the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road and Transport Union, GPRTU. They're bringing us up to speed with the fact that the GPRTU is not a part of the recently announced 15% increase in transport fares, which was to take effect from today. He, however, is clarifying the fact that we should expect some increment. However, he won't be able to state by how much and how soon. But away from that, Ghana achieved a trade surplus of 3.9 billion cedis in the third quarter of 2024, a significant turnaround from a deficit of 2.3 billion in the same period last year, according to the Ghana Statistical Service. The report revealed that gold bullion was the leading export, valued at 46.5 billion Ghana cedis, representing 62.1% of the total exports. This report has the details.
Well,
we apologize for that wrong answers. We'll bring you details in our subsequent bulletins. And on that note, that'll be all for today's edition of Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Obudu. For more business stories, please check out our website, is 3news.com/business. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is Egbon Blend with Black Rasta, and he's on standby. Stay tuned.